Trevor, you're in the cannabis industry. It's nascent, it's exciting, it's high growth, the regulations unfolding. How do you see it developing?
Well, I think that from here, we've got the production platforms have already been built. I think the next stage for the cannabis industry is retail. It's the forming of these direct consumer relations that we couldn't do under the old system.
Well, people talk about retail, and there's all sorts of players in the market that are vertically integrated. They're producing, distribution, retail. Those are very different businesses. How do you think about it?
They are very, very different businesses. I think that retail requires a very, very kind of intimate relationship with your customer, knowing what they want, what they need, and providing them a sort of a safe and clean, enlightened experience, an educational experience. But it's very different than a medical model. So it's not just that production is different. Medical production is different than a retail. You couldn't get two things that are more different. And I think that what we're going to see is licensed producers that are going into retail. It's just a very, very different industry.
What's your business plan to stand out as a retailer of choice?
Well, for us, it's all about education. So we've taken sort of best of breed education from the medical space, but also layered on our own sort of recreational and also a customer service layer to it. So we actually have at our headquarters in Edmonton a 10,000 square foot facility that's customer service and training. Like we're training what we call canistas.
So it's canistas. I like it.
You heard it here. Yeah, so I think that customer service is going to be key.
And so, I mean, as a layperson myself, I come into the system and what type of education am I getting from the canista?
To be a canista, you'd have to get 4 parts. One is going to be a provincial compliance layer, so Smart Serve in Ontario, I think it's called Safe Serve in Alberta. And then we layer on top of that the kind of scientific piece, which I think the LPs have done quite well. We partnered with GrowWise, which is delivering that kind of curriculum to us. But then we have a third layer, which is the recreational part, because people are going to consume this in a non-medical way. That's what we're doing. And then the fourth is customer service, customer care, and that kind of how to deal with customers in an intelligent way. So
there's beverage manufacturers getting into it. There's all sorts of different edibles being manufactured and distributed now. What do you see as the highest growth product area in 2018 and into 2019?
For retail or for recreational? Yeah, I think that the highest growth is going to be in edibles. If you look at any of the data coming out of the Deloitte survey or even our own internal research actually in Alberta, our market research, edibles are going to be very, very big. Because again, there's a stigma associated with smoking, right? The idea of Cheech and Chong and rolling a joint, I think it's a little old school.
It is. What type of edibles though? Because there's such a myriad out there
There are lots
already.
of edibles. I think that the first ones are going to be things like the chocolates and the brownies, those kinds of things, or like a bar. I can see it being like a power bar because I'm not sure how Health Canada is going to like things that appeal to children. And that's, as a responsible retailer, you have to keep that in the back of your mind. So there's going to be those kind of consumables. I think lower down the list are things like the lollipops or hard candies, which again, may not look like that because you have to be socially responsible in your retailing. So
some regulators have been really clear about how things are going to unfold, and others have been relatively ambiguous and are slow. Who do you think is leading the way from a government perspective and a regulatory roadmap that you can follow?
Yeah, we chose Alberta as our beachhead, and we're headquartered in Edmonton because Alberta was very, very clear. They were first out of the gate in terms of having comprehensible regulations, and as you can imagine, the capital goes where there's certainty.
Right.
They were very certain. I think municipally, they've also been very forward-thinking. Calgary is one of the first municipal jurisdictions that has clarity on zoning and development permits. So for us, it was a pretty easy decision.
There's a lot of technology that could enter this in the production side, whether it's Internet of Things, like IoT type sensors to track plants, blockchain technology to track and audit the history of a plant. What do you think is the first disruption in terms of technology that will happen in the industry?
In the retail side of the industry?
All of it. Where does technology enter
I do think there's a place for blockchain in cannabis. I think that anytime you have secure systems that have to, have a distributed ledgers, make sure that what you've been given by the Alberta Liquor Gaming Commission is exactly equal to what you've sold. I think those kinds of mechanisms are good examples of blockchain. I think actually mobile is going to be probably one of the big disruptors. So our focus as well has been enabling our retail experience with mobile things like augmented reality to give people better sort of experience with their products. So I think mobile.